Hey there, Bat family. Welcome to a review of a game that was provided to us by Thunderworks Games. How are you doing, Mark?
I am existing at the moment. It is the last week of August as we are recording this, and it has been a brutal week for a number of us.
Yeah, not even gonna lie, folks, to keep everything on the up and up, it's been a rough one. We're all dealing with stuff, but we got to play some games, and like I said earlier, this one was provided to us by Thunderworks Games, and the game that we're getting ready to talk to you guys about is FlipToons. I love this game.
So this was designed by Jordi Adon, I don't know, and Renato Simos. I really apologize for screwing those up. At least we're trying, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the artist was Diego Sa on this one. And I think you have really enjoyed that. We're going to get into all that.
We're going to get on to all the fun stuff, but yeah.
As a reminder for those that, if they had listened to our Gen Con preview episode,
this was my number one for Gen Con.
Yep.
For me, rightly so.
So with that,
let's get into it. All right. Talking about how we play FlipToons. FlipToons is an auto battler. So everybody starts out with the same small deck of cards, just 6, and you spend turns flipping those 6 cards at first to build up points. When you put out these cards, it is a 3x2 grid. You go from the upper left hand going across the top row, and then you go to make another row of 3 cards. Depending on where cards land determines their point value, because it could say this is worth 1 point for every unique card adjacent to it, or it could just have a flat number connected to it, like 2 or 5 or 7. But at the end of the turn, what matters is what powers get triggered. Like the skunk allows you, if you have the lowest score among everybody playing, you are allowed to scrap one of your cards for free. But at the end of your turn, you're going to spend the points that you've earned to buy up to 2 cards or trash 2 cards from your deck via a nice little market. The market has 5 cards in it. Prices are 3, 4, 7, 10, and 15. And how the market is filled is from a deck of cards, and you put them out in numerical order based on the number in the artwork. Those are found in the lower left-hand corner. And so the lower the number, the closer to the lowest price that is there. And then it moves its way up. And so then when you purchase, it's not refilled until the end of your turn, but then the next person gets to buy from the new market. You continue playing the game, you're doing it simultaneously. Once everybody's done their buy phase, you shuffle up and you get ready to flip for another 6 cards. You go until someone can score 30 points. That triggers the end round, but that doesn't trigger the end of the game. The person who got the highest score, so if 2 people go over 30 points, one person is going to win the Critic's Choice, which is a bonus 3 points. If only one person gets that 30 points, they're the only one that has to worry about getting the Critic's Choice. That card carries over to them to have one final flip. The flip happens, you might have won the Critic's Choice the round previously, but your flip was just really, really bad and you scored less than everybody, so you might not win it. But it's so fast, I don't mind all the craziness that is of this game. And that is how you play. The learning curve and the ease of teach. Jason knew, because this was on the top of my list, he happened to be running around before Gen Con had opened and grabbed it first thing. But he handed
it to me. And then we were provided a copy as well.
And then we were also provided a copy as well. But I literally learned it sitting at the table and went, oh, this is easy. So the ease of teach for me was very, very easy. And I taught it to a table of people. Regardless what you feel about the game, how was learning the game?
The learning isn't overly complicated. It's really just understanding why a card is going to be put into the slot for purchase that it is. But otherwise, I mean, it's not really that difficult of a teach. You know that it's an auto battler. You're going to buy some cards, you're going to shuffle them up, you're going to play them out, and that's where you're at. So learning it is, it was simple.
I thought it was very, very easy to teach. Everything was relatively well explained, and even if there was a little bit of confusion, the rules did a great job, for me at least, helping me understand. Artwork, components, iconography. This is definitely where we're going to be different because, as you have indicated earlier to me before we started recording, that I know it's called Cuphead because of the video game. It's actually known as Rubber Hose. Indicative of like early
Old school, like 1920s animation styles, yeah.
Yeah, and I really dig it because it's these goofy little animals with just goofy grins and weird things in their hands, and it's very childish. It's very simplistic looking, and I dig it.
There are many cultural connotations to the Rubber Hose art style that I have a very hard time looking past, so I automatically dislike whenever I see it. I have not ever engaged with Cuphead for a variety of reasons, mostly because I don't have the patience or wherewithal at this point in my life to be that punished, even though I will play Blasphemous just for fun, I suppose, at this point.
Right.
So you get into the fact I don't love the style in the first place.
Right.
I have, like I said, those cultural connotations and issues with it. And frankly, in almost every game that I've seen, digital or analog, that uses the art style, I just don't care for it.
Yeah.
Not that it's poorly done. I think it is all very well done. I just don't like the art style.
Right.
And so that's just, it's a matter of form.
It's personal preference in this indication. Even the colors that are used is very indicative of that time frame because it's all muted colors and different shades that you don't typically see.
It's very strong. It is very evocative of the theme it's trying for. It is very cohesive. You have the idea of what's going on with it. I just don't like the style.
Yeah. Components. I mean, it's a deck of cards. They're nice cards. Yeah, it's just a deck of cards. I think probably my favorite thing about the deck of cards, however, is the player aid and scoring track that they came up with.
Oh, my least favorite thing?
I know you hated it, but I thought it was kind of neat that it's like, okay, yeah, here's the set of rules, and yeah, I can flip over and there's the rest of them that I need. But I liked the whole idea that the arrow was up at the top, and then when I got past one number, I just flipped it, and the arrow slid over to the other side, and so I can do the next column.
So it reminds me of Star Realms. Its very first iteration where it used those sliding cards. And it wasn't something that I overly loved then. I think that one did it better. I don't like the fact that it is the player aids themselves that are doing it. For a game that is what it is, it just felt fiddly. I don't know. It's not something you have to deal with a lot because just, you finish whatever your flip is, you score it up, and then it's there. I just didn't like that system. I understand that it was easier to keep everything as cards, but I would have liked a wheel or some dice or something. I don't like that as a form of score tracking, and I've never liked that. But for cost, for form factor, everything, I think it all works. Again, this is just me nitpicking more than anything else. It works. It's very functional. I just don't like it.
It kept the cost down because it wasn't another component that they were going to have to get different materials for. Also, it's a small box. And so either then that means they would have had to increase the box size, which then would have increased the cost, not including just the material cost. Then also, it's a nice small box, so it fits with all the rest of my small boxes. To have 4 wheels or 8 sets of dice or however many sets of dice, you would need that much more space.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it is me just being nitpicky because to me it's fiddly.
Yeah.
But no, it works.
Yeah, I think it's got decent function. Iconography.
There's not?
Other than the point value that's on the cards, it's clear enough that you're like, this is a direct correlation to the point value that's on the market track. But I mean, they're just bigger numbers.
It just breaks down to once you know one card, you know all the cards.
Yeah.
And I think there's the you can't flip icon. And other than that, it's basically, there's not really, because there doesn't need to be any iconography.
Correct.
The layout of the cards is very clean. It is very understandable what is going on. The text, I think, is a decent sized font, so I didn't have any comprehension or reading issues.
Same.
And what's nice is, even though there are as many cards as there are, I know the hot dog is the hot dog is the hot dog. So if I've seen it before and I see it in the lineup, I don't have to be like, what is that one? I just know what it is.
Right.
So as far as components and everything, I'm not a fan of the art form, but I think the art is well done.
Yeah.
The iconography doesn't really exist, doesn't need to.
Right.
Everything's clear. And when it comes to components, there's the fiddly score tracking thing that I don't like. But boy, that is nitpicky as all nitpicks. So as negative as I may have come off on this, I really don't have serious issues in any of these categories.
Yeah. I think the only technical icon there is that on the lower right-hand side of the artwork, there will be a shadow of cards with a number in it. And that just indicates how many of that number of card is in the deck.
But again, that just goes back to, that once, it across the board.
Exactly.
So.
replayability and player count. Replayability. There's enough cards that I think that the replayability is, I'm going to say moderate, because it's not a huge deck of cards. You're not going to see a ton of different cards, especially when you're playing with multiplayer.
So for me, it breaks down to, do you like auto battlers?
Right.
Because from round to round, what you see is going to be entirely dependent on how you built your card, the way the shuffle went, everything. So I think there is good replayability here. I think there is absolutely opportunity for a small expansion of, hey, here's an extra half dozen card types, and it could be 18 cards or whatever. But I think if you are buying this and you are going in because you like the form and you are just wanting to play a quick filler and have something like this, I think it fits in that realm very, very well.
Yeah.
I actually think there's more replayability there than even what you are saying is moderate, because player count and scaling does matter, because
True.
you're going to have more market churn, you're going to see more cards, you're going to have all that stuff. So I think it is more fun with more players.
True.
But I also think, from what you've said about the solo mode, I haven't tried it, there's enough reason to sit there and just see what you can do and see what's going to happen with it.
That is true.
So
player count, it is a 1 to 4. The solo is kind of interesting because you tank a bunch of cards to begin with, and it is a race to 30 before you run out of cards, which is pretty neat. You do lose a couple cards at the end of every round, so there is a finality. You can't just sit there and be like, I'm not going to buy anything this round. Well, great, you didn't buy anything this round. You're still losing cards as if you had. You lose the lowest and you lose the highest, so that makes the market shift a bit. So you're just trying to race the deck before it goes out, which is at least neat for a solo. I haven't played many games that do that. I'm sure there probably are a couple out there that have done something similar, but not that I've ever played. Yeah, so I think the solo mode actually is my favorite way to play it.
sure, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. What's the like, what's the dislike? I know for me, with my different gaming groups, I could see bringing this out maybe every other weekend. You know, I'd not have this be my filler or my starter every single time that I'm having a game night, but I definitely think it's going to be within reach, because if all of a sudden someone goes, hey, what's that? Or, hey, do you have that thing? I'm definitely going to want to play it again. And it's not going to be like one of those things, I guess I'll go get it. I really enjoy it enough that it will be something that I'll play a bunch.
Sure.
It's simple. It's quick. Like you said multiple times, once you know one card, you know that one relatively easy. And I haven't played it probably in 2 weeks, and I can still remember it. And I'm not even looking at the website right now. I'm like, that's kind of nice to have a game that is that simple.
When it comes to what's to like, it is a simple teach. It is something you can pull out. It has a decision space in the purchase, certainly, of what am I going to add into my deck? How do I want to handle that? And so if you're looking for something that allows you a little bit of agency, but you know, it's an auto battler, you are going to just flow on with it. So you are going to be playing it as really as long as it takes to win. And I know that's kind of a silly statement, but that could be 4 rounds, it could be 12 rounds, but the rounds themselves aren't overly long. So if you want something that gives you a little bit of crunch, a little bit of think, but doesn't require huge brain burn, and is something you can put on the table, you can teach it quickly, and you can use it as a transition game, or you can use it as, you know what, we're just going to play this for 2 hours, and you're going to play it 3 or 4 times in that span, but you could do that. There's a really good approachability to the game that allows you to feel like you are making more complex decisions than what you actually are.
I can agree with that, yeah. Now going on to the flip side of what's not to like.
Flip side.
I mean,
it's lucky, lucky.
It very much is, because if you accidentally put too many things into your deck, you're never going to see your combos if you have a combo that's available to you. You're completely at mercy as to what ends up hitting the market and when it hits the market. Depending on where you're at in the round, great, that thing that you've been wanting. If you're player number 4, you might not see it. Or if it does get to you, where is it sitting on the board? Because we had it where I was playing with 4 players, and one of the hot dogs was in the 15 because everything underneath it was lower number. And I think a hot dog is like a 9. It's something really low.
It's something I really dislike of the way the market builds. What starts as a very cheap card and should be a very cheap card based on its numbering and its power becomes very expensive,
Right.
just because other cheap cards have come out.
Right. That can really stink. The only other thing I can think of that, because I'm going to let you talk about the things that you didn't care for. The only other thing that I can think of that you might dislike is that the decision space isn't huge. You're not going to be doing a ton of thinking. I mean, sometimes there is one of those things of like, oh gosh, what should I do? You like that little bit of my brain is working. This one, you don't have to think.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to buy this card because this one's cool. You can just do that and there's your game.
I really hate the end game. Really, really hate it.
That is true. Yeah, I should say I don't care for that as much.
The fact that 30 is the cut point, and then you have another round where it very well just might be nobody gets to 30 because of the way the cards have come out. We played one game of it where I got to 28, and then my next round I was at 25, and then my next round I was at 20, and then my final round, because you would hit 30 when I hit 20, I was at like 21.
Right.
Just luck of the draw.
Right.
But that means that you have an ultimately arbitrary end point that is then exacerbated by this arbitrary who's going to win. There was this moment when I taught my wife the game Expeditions from Stonemeyer. And she had never played a game quite like it. It had been years since she had played Scythe. But in that game and in Scythe, whenever the last star is put out from a player, game's done. Then you go into scoring. It doesn't inherently mean that because you're the person that placed the last star that you're going to win. And she didn't realize that. And so she ran for her stars, did a great job in it, and then ended up losing because she didn't understand that, oh, stars aren't the actual win condition. And I feel like I had that exact same situation here. And again, another one of the sessions we played with it, I was talking to somebody else that was on that same upwards and then backwards trajectory. And it was just cool. So I can trigger the end of the game and that gets me 3 points, but doesn't mean I'm actually going to win.
Right. It's hard to figure out exactly what to cull from your deck. And you only have 2 actions.
Yeah, you don't have enough opportunity to cull. Now, thankfully, you have the opportunity to do so. And anytime you have that, oh, I was the lowest with the skunk, so I get a free clear or whichever card did that.
It's a skunk.
I appreciate the fact that that's there because it at least gives you something for being behind. But again, it's entirely arbitrary of are you behind or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's just for your extra, because clearing cards is considered a market action, and you get 2 market actions. But then you also have to have 5 points to spend to get rid of them, unless you're getting rid of the caterpillars, which are 3.
Right.
There's a little bit of, there is some stuff that you're like, okay, I don't care for this as much. But for me, it didn't overly hurt my game.
It made it feel artificially long because, again, once you hit 30, I just feel like the game should be done.
The game should be done.
I don't know why that extra round exists. That really annoys me. So I definitely have recommendations because I have played other games in this genre.
This is the first auto battler that I've ever played. I've played deck builders, and there's a ton of deck builders that I could just rattle off. But auto battlers are new to me. I think maybe that's also the reason why I've enjoyed this one. Is because it's new to me.
So there's 2 other major auto battlers to look at. The first one is Challengers. Challengers came out, a year or 2 ago. Maybe it's 22. I don't remember. It ended up winning the Kennerspiel, I believe.
Okay.
But essentially, what makes that game interesting is it is essentially playing in a draft where you actually want 8 players if you can for it. It's the big problem I have with Challenge. Well, I have other problems with Challengers, but the big issue I have with Challengers is you want more players because you are essentially playing a tournament where you're going to pair off with a different player, and then depending on how you win, you're going to progress through. You are literally playing a tournament.
Okay.
But it has that same idea of here's your starter deck, here is the way you are going to be able to purchase cards, cull cards, do whatever. It is a very similar structure. It just plays more players, and it is a longer game because you're going to be playing a lot of rounds of it.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But if you are interested in seeing what auto battlers are like and you want to see it with more people, that's one way to go. On the flip side of it, if you're looking for fewer players, also releasing at Gen Con from Scorpion Mask was Tag Team. And Tag Team is an auto battler with a little bit of a almost Aeon's End selection, kind of, because it still uses that same basic structure of, we're going to be purchasing cards, we're going to be triggering things and attacking each other. It actually has kind of a dice throne vibe about it. You are just trying to knock the other person out, but it has this little twist on it where you are able to draw some cards at the beginning before you do the randomization. You get to seed 1 card for sure. So there's a little bit more control in there. Beyond those 2 things, I don't really have any other recommendations.
And just so you know, Challengers was 2022.
Hey, look at that.
final thoughts. This is where I know we're going to be definitely different.
Yeah.
For me, this game is a 7. Just outside of shelf. This is definitely a table. It's really close to being a shelf for me. I think the reason why it's just a 7, which is the table, I've played it enough that I'm like, okay, I've seen enough. I've got the expansion, which adds axolotls, which allows you to activate your big button, which gives you the ability to flip your big button. Like if you don't like what your draw was, you can flip your big button. It allows you to tank those 6 cards, reshuffle, and then redeal. But then you are waiting until someone's axolotl comes out, and then the axolotl fixes everybody's button. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so like right now, it's just a 7. It's going to be one of those things that I'm going to bring to the family thing and play for a little bit, and then it's going to sit for a bit. I don't know how long it's going to stay as a high table.
Sure.
I have a funny feeling there's going to be things that are going to land and stick more unless expansions come in and revitalize it.
Sure.
So how badly are you going to do this?
Okay, so I'm going to preface this here because I've been trying to figure out where in the review I should put it, and I think this is the right moment.
Okay.
Because when you were looking at BGG's mechanisms, deck building, pool building, bag building are all lumped in together.
Okay.
Auto battlers, for me, are just a worse form of bag pulling.
Okay.
So in deck building, I get to set my possibilities, right? I am getting to purchase my cards, I'm building my deck, I'm doing everything I'm doing. But then I get to draw a hand, and I get to interact with that hand in whatever way I want. And while I may not draw the best hand, I still am able to use it in whatever way I want. And so it gives me player agency. And player agency is something that I find incredibly important, and if I don't have it, I don't enjoy the game. It's something that I really desire in whatever I'm playing. Without that player agency, why am I playing? I might as well just be playing Candyland or Life and having the game happen to me, and I have no real impact other than I am at the table, right? So what bag pulling does is it takes that agency out of me, and it turns it into basically a top decking mechanism because you're only pulling one chip at a time, right? And so for me, the reason I think auto battlers are just a worse version of that is I don't even get the capacity to draw the chip. I'm just at the mercy of a top deck. And so it doesn't matter what I've built in my deck or what I've put in my bag because I don't actually get to play them. Auto battling is just top decking. And for me, that leads to these lucky, swingy, non-efficient, and frankly, stupid decisions that if I had control of the deck, I would never make. And so when I sit there and I look at this genre and it uses what I find to be a worse version of a mechanism that I already don't like, and then I feel like, why am I even sitting here at the table? Because the game is, I have a little bit of decision space of what card do I want to buy. Might not matter because that card might just never come out because especially in this one, I get to see 6 cards. I don't like it.
Right.
I have issues with the art. We covered that above. It's not bad, but I just don't like the form. I really dislike the mechanisms. I cannot stand that extra final round thing. Look, it's a 3 for me.
Yep,
it is a trade. It is a hard trade. Will I play it again? Yeah, if you need the player and you want to, it's thankfully short enough. But I have already chosen to sit out of the game to let other people play because you all had a much better time than I did with it. I just don't like it. Because at the end of the day, I don't like auto battlers. It's just not fun for me. It's a 3.
Yeah.
For other people, it is going to be much higher.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's where I figured you were going to land. Because of all the reasons why you stated. It's fun and it's stupid.
Sure.
I don't have a lot of those.
That's fair. And I do.
Yeah.
I do have a surprising amount of really great dumb little games.
Yeah. This is honestly probably the first silly, stupid game because typically I always have a reason. This is the mechanism or this is the thing. And I think that...
Well, now you do.
Yeah, right. Shut up. Maybe this could slide into my recommendations. It's just like, it's silly and stupid.
Yeah.
And it didn't cost a ton.
Hey, everybody. For Season 2, we're going to be sponsored by Secret Door Games in Elkhart, Indiana. We'll give you more info about that at the beginning of the season, but for now, we wanted to let you know about their 10 years of gaming celebration. It's coming up on Saturday, September 13th, and Secret Door is going to be holding their 10th anniversary party and hosting games, special guests, events, giving away prizes, and of course, sales. So, check them out on Saturday, September 13th from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time over at 215 South Main Street in Elkhart, Indiana. You can also find out more details on Secret Door themselves at their website, secretdoorgames.org, where they also have a link to their Facebook event page for the anniversary party. Thanks again to Secret Door for sponsoring us, and congratulations on 10 years of gaming.
So that was FlipToons. Like we said earlier, it was given to us by Thunderworks Games. You can order it now for pre-release. It releases in September, so by the time that this comes out, hopefully it's already out and you can get it at your local game store. If you like it and you agree with me, you know how to get in contact with us. We'll put all that stuff in our show notes. If you don't like it and you agree with Mark, hey, email us and tell us the reason why you agree with Mark. If you're someone in between, or there's something that you don't agree with on either side or both sides, let us know.
Yeah. We really like this game as a review, honestly, because you get the full spectrum here.
Yeah.
I am sitting here at a 3, but I am the person sitting here saying there is an audience for this. There are people that are going to like this quite a bit. Thank you again to Thunderworks for providing us a copy of the game.
Yes,
Thank you again to Jason for just getting you another copy of the game.
That was one of the highlights of the weekend, was all of a sudden just to receive a text, because I was already having a rough weekend, and to go, hey, you don't have to worry about this one thing. Oh my God, thank you so much, because so awesome.
Well, with that, Scott.
No.
Get out of my
No.
house.
Can't make me.